First speaker is Teri Chalker. Please welcome her.
All right, so I was driving over from the hotel this morning, and there was a young man, probably, 10 or 12. I love to just observe kids because they're always so entertaining. And he was sitting at a bus stop waiting for a bus to pick him up this morning, and he had on which is what caught my eyes, he had on this bright orange bathing suit that had, the tropical stuff on it. And as I was thinking about that, I was thinking how cool that is, that he's just sitting there waiting to get on a bus to go swimming today, and how excited he probably was for his day to start. And so I started thinking about what I was excited about today. One thing I'm excited about is the weather here is amazing. I am from Kansas, and we've had between 108, 115 heat index for the last 2 weeks. And when I say that, it's not like Arizona heat. It's like crazy tropical, just walk out your door, get to your car, and if you can accomplish that in the day, you're done. You're exhausted. My dog hasn't left the floor for 2 weeks. She can't hardly breathe. So I'm excited about that. I'm also really excited to be with a bunch of other confirmation geeks. I feel like sometimes, and that's, I think, part of the reason why they asked me to come, is this is what I do. So I do confirmation. It's the thing I love to do, and I'm excited about it all the time. And so when we're doing our thing, sometimes I think we feel like we're silo. And there's no one else that's doing confirmation, and if they are, there's really no talk. There's really no discussion about how it's going. And so the project that's being done, I was excited about that, just to get some more information. And I was telling someone yesterday that even though some of this stuff may not be surprising that we're learning, it's kind of just nice to hear that other people are feeling the same way I'm feeling. So I'm excited just to hang with you other confirmation geeks, so thanks for being with me today. So one other thing I want to say before I get into it is they uploaded, I guess that's the right, or downloaded, I'm not sure, the presentation today on the website. So don't feel like you have to write a whole bunch of stuff down. The slides will be on the Luther Seminary website. So don't feel like you have to write everything down, but feel free to if you want to write other stuff down, but the slides will be on there. So I think, am I moving this correctly? I don't know. See, I'm already having technical difficulties. What am I doing wrong? I'm pushing? Do I do something wrong? Oh, there it is. Okay, good. All right, so first of all, I wanted to say a little bit about why I do what I do. And the best way to do that is to share a story with you, which I'm sure you all have some fantastic stories. But one of the stories that I want to share with you is why I do what I do, is I had a young woman who was going through confirmation a couple years ago, and her mom had died of cancer 3 years prior to her getting confirmed. And during the confirmation process, she was going through this. It was really, difficult for her. But the mom had a twin sister. And when the twin sister and her mom went through baptism, it wasn't confirmation, but when they were baptized in the church, their mom gave them matching cross necklaces. And so this was many, many years ago. And the mom really, really valued this necklace. So the mother passed away 3 years before this girl was confirmed, and the dad had decided that he was going to give her this necklace, the daughter, during confirmation. So he searched and searched and searched the house, couldn't find the necklace anywhere. He was really, really frustrated, getting quite angry. In fact, even called the twin sister and said, "Are you sure you got your necklace and not my wife's necklace?" So it kind of caused this whole family thing. Finally, he just gave up. There's nothing he could do about it. But what was really cool is the mom, before she had passed away, had made some presents for each of the momentous things in her children's lives that she knew she would miss. So she had a graduation card. She had a wedding card, the birth of their first child type of card. She also had a card for confirmation. And when the daughter opened it after the confirmation ceremony, inside was the cross necklace. And so for me, when I heard that story, it made me think about the fact that what we do may seem like just a bunch of logistics and theories and ministry and curriculum and timing and recruiting and all that stuff, but these families, this means a lot to them. And what we do is a great impact. I mean, this is a major event that this mother prepared for 3 years prior. So it's just something to think about. Those kind of stories make me do what I do. It makes me excited to do what I do. So I hope that you have a similar story that makes you think about why you do what you do. All right. So I show this picture because I speak at Leadership Institute at our church every year, and we have a lot of different sizes churches that come. And when they come, some of them are big, some of them are small, most in between. And this picture is Kevin McLean, who was from Prosper United Methodist Church in Texas. And he sent me this picture because he came to our Leadership Institute and he had never done confirmation before, and he was looking just for some tools and things that he could do. He went back and a year later sent me this picture of his first confirmation class. Now there's kids in the middle of there, there's families and things like that. But the reason I show this picture is because I want you to hear what we're doing at our church today, but I want you to take it and figure out if there's things that spur thought in your church. Okay, because what I do and what we do at our church is not going to fit at your church. Okay, so I'm hoping that you can be a little bit like Kevin and hear some of the things that we do and maybe think that those are things that maybe you could tweak or do differently in your church. So that's why I show that picture. I don't know what I'm doing. Might I go this way? I've obviously never used a clicker before. Aim I'm at the machine. There we go. I'm aiming. There we go. Okay. So one of the things, this will take forever. One of the things that you really need to be thinking about when you're going to make a change or you're going to shake things up in your ministry is, what is your mission statement? It's really, really easy to do a bunch of stuff and want to do a bunch of stuff, but you need to go back to what your mission statement is, okay? As a church, what do you want to accomplish, okay? If you don't have one, you need one. So come up with something that you feel as a ministry or you feel as a church is something that you really want to see your youth do. This is ours. This is the one that we kind of hold with us as we go through the confirmation process. The kids actually at the end get a gift that has that on there. So it kind of keeps us focused, and it also gives the kids some direction. Okay, so, oops, now I went too far. Ooh, now it's really sensitive. Okay, so the basics. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about what we do. Like I said, this is something that works for us, all right? So this is how our confirmation program runs. We run Sundays. We run from September 27th to February. And I'll talk a little bit about the changing of that timing and why we choose that timing. I'm sure none of you have to work within the school district settings, right? All right? Or sporting events. But this is part of the thing that drives what we do. So we have 12 classes that are actual, what we would consider confirmation classes, okay? They're not typical, so we'll talk about that a little bit. But we have what we call 4 experience weeks. We added those in because I have the kids do kind of a summary at the end, like, what did you like about confirmation? What was your favorite part? What would you like to see more of? And I ask parents fill those out, students fill those out. I get a lot of really good ideas from that because I kind of run out of ideas. And one of the biggest things they said is we would like to hang out with other kids. We love our small group. It's our favorite part of confirmation. We love being together. And so we added 4 experience weeks, and you'll see what those are here in a bit. We have 8th through 12th graders. We do primarily, our kids that sign up are 8th graders. I would say probably about 80% are 8th graders. The rest are high schoolers. Our high schoolers are grouped together in a group on their own so that they have a little more freedom. They get to go do a little more mission stuff. Sometimes they'll meet at our local hamburger joint. There's some things that they get to do. They're like the cool ones on the block, right? So we do have high school students and are just happy to have them, but we do things a little bit different for them just because of who they are. We do charge a fee. I know that seems kind of strange, but I like to do a lot of fun things, and I can't do them with the budget that I'm given, which is not a lot. Now, maybe you all have unlimited budgets in your church, which would be great, and I'll come work for you. But we don't have a lot of money, and with kids, a lot of it is the fun things that they get to do. And so I charge an amount. But when families sign up, they are offered the opportunity to give an extra $5, an extra $10, whatever, to help pay for it. Our United Methodist Women also offer some scholarships. So it's really easy for a family to say, hey, my husband's kind of not, struggling right now, we don't have a job or whatever, and that's no big deal. So the fee does not keep them from getting a confirmation, but the fee enables me to do some fun stuff with them that I would not be able to do otherwise. So we do have fee and we do have scholarships. Our small groups have 2 to 3, what I know everyone has a different term for mentors. Our mentors are lay leaders, and there are 2 to 3 of them in every small group. The reason I do that is because a lot of our kids have kind of verbalized that it's kind of creepy to have a one-on-one necessarily time with adults. Not that that's bad, it's good to have adult support, but they like the feeling of the community, the feeling of the small group all being together. And so we have 2 to 3. The other reason that is if one can't make it, then there's 2 that are still in the classroom because we have to follow the safe gatherings, which is 2 unrelated adults with youth at all times. So we make sure that we have that. And then the other thing that's nice is I'm sure your teachers that are teaching are all teaching great, but every once in a while I have like someone that says, he said this. So it's nice to have a second person in there that can say, that's not what he said. They didn't hear that correctly, or yeah, you might want to talk to him about kind of how he taught that lesson. So it's nice to have a second in there just so that you can have that double backup for when you're teaching your kids. The other thing that we added a couple years ago that I'm so excited that's really been taking off is our junior mentors. So in each of our class, I've recruited high schoolers that have been through confirmation to come back and be a mentor with 2 mentors. The thing that's been really great about that is I knew that would benefit the young people in the group, right? To have a high schooler that they could look up to, that they could kind of relate to a little bit more than some of our mentors. But what's happened is we're finding that our junior mentors, after graduating high school, are wanting to come back and do some more mentoring, and they really are getting mentored by our mentors. So it's kind of a multi-generation thing that's going on, which has really been great to see. The other thing is those junior mentors, I sit down, I interview them, I talk to them about the fact that they are examples, like if they're out in the community or at a sporting game, how they need to act, the fact that their social media needs to be cleaned, because I'm like, these kids are watching you. They're gonna watch and see who you are. So it elevates them and gives them some importance. So if you have high schoolers that might be, ask them if they'd be interested in teaching. They do a great job, they just sometimes need a little bit of guidance. So the junior mentors is something we've added. We do socials. Like I said, I like to have fun. Confirmation is good, but we like to have some fun while we're doing it too, and the kids like to hang out. So if you're not doing some kind of social, our small groups do a social together so that they get to know each other in the first 2 or 3 weeks. Maybe they'll go to someone's house and they'll cook a meal, or the guys will go outside and throw the basketball around. So we do a social, but we also do a large group social, and for us it's just like having a big movie. We drop our screen in our sanctuary and they get to hang out and watch a movie together and eat junk food. So, but they love it. They love to just hang and have community, which I think is what we've been hearing the last few days, is community is just really important. And then we also have a mission component to our confirmation program. This generation loves to serve. They see Jesus even more when they're using their hands and feet to serve. So I'm going to talk a little bit about what we do for our mission, because maybe it'll spur some things if you're not currently doing that, maybe spur some ideas in your community, but I'm going to talk about that here in a bit. So here's our format. Everyone always wants to know kind of what you're doing, so here's our logistics. We switched to a 10:30 time start, which we also have a service going on at the same time. We used to meet in the afternoons from 1 to 3. And what I love about this time frame is it embeds us into the church. So we don't feel like we're kind of just coming to confirmation on their own. We're coming at the same time everyone else is coming to church, which is kind of a parking logistics, but it's kind of cool. The other thing we've noticed is our church, our mission statement is to serve the non and nominally religious, to help them grow to become deeply committed Christians. And so we have a lot of non-religious and nominally religious people. And so this gives them the chance to drop their kid off at confirmation and also attend our 10:45 service. So before, what was happening is the parents were driving by, kicking them out the door, go to confirmation, drive by, right? Now they have something that they can do as a family. They can worship, the younger kids could go to Sunday school while the kids are going to confirmation. So there's been a lot of really positives about it. It's a little chaotic during that time frame, but it works out really good. And then our speakers, there's a link there. If you are I'm just gonna brag, we have some great lay leader speakers. And they come in and speak to our students during our large group time. And our speakers don't speak like theology or specifics about. What they talk about is, I tell them, I want you to tell a story from your life or something that's happened to you that relates to the lesson. For instance, we have one week that's called Sin and Salvation. I have a gentleman who speaks, And he had a son who he adopted from Russia. When he was 3, was tragically drowned. And he talks about how salvation to him is a chance for him to see his son again. And so it's kind of a different way to think about it when you're teaching it, but it really brings it home for the kids. It gives them something else to think about besides just what is sin and salvation. It gets them kind of thinking in a different way. So those are our speakers. Our speakers talk a lot about different kinds of things like that. Then they go into their small group time, and that's when they go through the lesson and the curriculum that we have. And then they come back for worship. We have a student-led band that leads them in worship, and the worship is high energy and fast-paced, so it's fun. They have a good time with that. But that's the way we end, kind of an upbeat, all together, sending out. So we have requirements. All programs have some requirements, I know. Our families, I found in our area, like to know what they need to do to get it done. They don't want this, just tell me what we need to do to get the kid confirmed, right? So we have some requirements, and one of them is they acolyte or usher in our church for 4 times. So it serves a lot of purposes. One, it helps our church, right? The other thing is it gets us visual every single service, because everyone, the confirmands come in, they see those are the confirmands. And so it helps them learn that they need to serve in the church, but it also makes us visual in the church each week. They can't miss more than 4 classes. So if they miss 4, they get material so that they can do stuff at home if they miss. So it's not like they're just missing it totally, but they can't physically be gone more than 4 times. I've had some kids who've had parents or grandparents who have passed away, and that kind of stuff is different. Missing it for a certain practice or whatever, but the parents know in advance when we meet, and so they kind of plan out their times. These are the 4 we're going to miss. And so the families kind of go into that, and they know where they're going with that. If they do miss more than 4, they can come back the next year and take those classes that they missed and get confirmed the following year, since we have 8th through 12th graders. So that's an option for the family also. We do have attendance at our kickoff, retreat, and ceremony are mandatory. The reason that we do the kickoff as attendance mandatory is I like to have the parents with us, the families with us when we kick off, because we talk a lot about what confirmation is, what the requirements are, so that everyone hears the same thing. We also I do a special meeting with the parents that talk a lot about how they can encourage their student while they're going through confirmation, and how they can really also support the mentors as they're going through it. So the attendance for that is really important, because then everyone hears the exact same thing, and it kind of has this good kind of send-off feel that we're getting ready to start. They are also required to participate in one other church activity. The goal is, this is what I tell my families, the goal is not to make you busier. I know you're already busy, but my goal is to make sure that when you're done with confirmation, someone knows that you're not here if you don't come. So what we do is we find ways for them to volunteer or serve in our church, and I give them a list of ideas of places, whether it's stuffing the seat backs on Sunday or helping run the slides, the tech team, whatever it is, so that after confirmation is over, if they aren't coming, because they're used to coming every week, right? So someone knows they're missing. If they don't come, then someone says, hey, I haven't seen him in a while. Why hasn't he been here? He hasn't been stuffing the seat backs. Give him a call. Hey, Joe. Because I'm not going to know if they're there or not, because I'm just one person, right? And that way it kind of divvies that out a little bit. So that would be that's one of my heartbreakers, if a kid or even our families don't come and no one even recognizes they haven't been coming. So that's one reason why we do that. And then we have our mission requirement, and they have to serve mission. So our curriculum, where does it come from? It comes from everywhere. If you all are able to take a prepared curriculum and use it, good for you. I cannot do that. It's just there's too many bits and pieces that I like. So I take bits and pieces from everywhere. When I first started doing confirmation, I guess it's been about 8 years ago for our church, I sat down with a group of parents, students, and we kind of started the basics of where we wanted to go. And then my goal is to try to revamp it, change it, update it when we have our break, which is in the summer. So that's what I'm supposed to be doing now, though. I have to admit I'm pretty far behind on that. But so anyway, it comes from everywhere. So if you look at our curriculum, we write it ourselves, but we supplement with a bunch of different other things. If you are interested, you can let me know. I'll be happy to send you the copy from the spring class that we did, because I obviously don't have the current one done. But But so when you look at it, you'll see it's very different. We have a lot of different video. We have a video component each week. It may be a 2-minute video, it may be a 3-minute video, but it's just something that kind of reaches that generation. And I have a children's ministry background, so when I first came to the youth department, they were like, oh yeah, she's here. The ladies make us do crafts. Okay, I'm not a craft person. I'm really bad at crafts, but I love activities that show the lesson. I learn really well that way, and I think a lot of our students do too. So each of our lesson has some kind of hands-on object lesson in it that they do in the classroom so that they can reinforce the lesson. So that's all in there. We have 3 parts to our curriculum. We have a mentor guide, which is what I call our master guide. It's got everything in it. The mentors have everything. And then the students have their own guide, and the parents have their own guide also. So what the parents get to do is, and if I have multi-families or families, I had a guy, was in Colorado, we live in Kansas, I emailed it to him, no big deal. But the reason I give that to them is because I want them to have the tools that they need in the classroom, or the tools they need in home in order to reinforce that. So we have 3 pieces, and it seems like a lot of work, but it's not. If you do everything from the mentor manual and then just fix it for parents and students, and you got your 3 pieces right there. I did have a student one year who went about 3 or 4 weeks into it with a mentor guide, which has all the answers. He thought that was awesome. So I'm like, you're a smart kid. So anyway, he found that, he was holding tight to that one. The other thing we have is in our curriculum, we make sure to have compass points. So I don't know if you guys are just handing your teachers or your people that are teaching, or if you're teaching the curriculum, but what we were finding was that some classes were getting this information during that time frame, and some were getting this. So we sat down as a church and as a ministry and said, what are the 3 things each week that are compass points? Because we do a journey theme. So what are our 3 compass points that we want each student to get by the time, and for each lesson, by the time they get confirmed? Because that way we have some consistency. We know that Joe's class is getting these 3 lessons, Kim's class is getting those 3 lessons, but we know they may do some other stuff in between, but we know at least that they got those 3 things that are really important for our church we feel like they need to know. Okay? So we have compass points on ours. And we have student and parent homework. So the parents have their own homework that they do as a family. So they sit down, the family it may be tell your kiddo when you first heard about God. Tell your kiddo why you're a Methodist, or if you're not, why you are Catholic. I don't know. So what you'll see in the curriculum at the end, each week there is parent and family homework. And the kids can do that with a grandparent or whoever they want to do it with. Okay. So I'm not going to go through this, and it's a lot writing, so don't write it, don't worry about writing it down. You'll have it online if you want. But I wanted to show you the flow of our weekly schedule and the fact that there's experience weeks plugged in there. So our experience weeks they attend church together as a small group, they visit another United Methodist church, and then we have a Q&A with our pastor, which is hysterical. But also very interesting. I learn a lot. And then we do a prayer walk game show week, which is kind of the culmination, and they compete against each other in a Jeopardy type of thing. It's a way for us to see how much they've learned, and it's kind of fun for the mentors to see how much they've learned too. So that's kind of the flow of our week. Our weekly schedule, I mean. Okay, so this is what I want to talk mostly about, is changing. This is what I always tell people: in your ministry, change should be your only constant. Okay? You should be changing all the time. It doesn't mean that your ministry's broken. It just means that you want to keep going and keep updating and keep trying different things. And so about 3-4 years ago, we changed from 7th to 8th grade, which doesn't sound like a big deal, but you know how tradition is, right? So changing was like a big deal, right? So we got that done, and it has been fantastic. The kids they're cognitively better to understand what they're doing in 8th grade. It fits better with our programming because they can go straight into high school small groups. So we have, just that change for us was a huge change. The second thing that we changed to is we went from 2 halftime sessions, which we had one that met in the fall, one that met in the spring, into this one that now straddles the 2, which is the February through September one. September to February. I did that backwards. So the reason we do that is because my goal, I tell people all the time, anyone can get somebody confirmed. That's easy, right? It's growing them as the disciples and keeping them coming is the difficult part. And what we found in our ministry, what really is the key, is that small group. Our kids, if you ask them, what is your favorite part of confirmation? They will not say the pizza party. They will not say going and doing whatever. They will say, my small group is my favorite part of confirmation. So my thought was, why are we not capitalizing on that? I already have these groups. They're already growing. They have leadership. Why are we not continuing that on? You know? So we've started as a culture of the church. We've been trying to get this going for the last 2 or 3 years. And what we're finding is that it's finally working. So this is the statistic. From the last session of confirmation, we had 98% of all students that went through that stayed with their small group afterwards. Okay? That's a huge statistic. That is like a bell-ringing, exciting thing for me, because it's taken us 3 years to get to that point. So it takes a while for the culture of your church to change, but everyone has to be in on it. It can't just be you. It has to be your lay leaders, your mentors, your families. When you meet with them for that kickoff and you say, my goal is for your kiddo to stay in this church for the life of it, and I want them to have this mentor and go through this small group together. So that's one of the things that we really have found is important. So by ending in February, instead of April when we were ending, April is great to end, but then you've got May. Who comes to church in May? Not in our area. They're dying. The families are all over the place, right? So now I'm trying to kick off, really get these small groups continuing on their own in April or May. It's not going to happen. Then the summer hits, they're gone. So now we've got them confirmed the end of February. So they have time to do this before spring break hits, because in Kansas no one stays, everyone leaves. So we got to get it before spring break, and we got to get it before spring. So this is why this timing works good for us, okay? Would I like to have them longer? Of course I would, but I can't. So I got to kind of work with that. So just make sure I think someone had asked the question, how do you make a change in your church? And what I have found is that you really need to have research and data support. You need to say why this change is important. These are the statistics. So you need to start taking some statistics. I know numbers are not what we want to do, but numbers can speak for you. So it's important to have that. You need to have some personal stories as to why it would be impactful. And then you need to have someone in your corner. When I went in to propose my change to our head pastor, I had my lay people with me. I had students with me. So I had a team approach, so they couldn't just tell me no, they had to tell everyone else no too. So make sure to have some people with you when you go in to make a change or you want to talk about a change, and then just pray and trust. If you make a mistake, you made a mistake. You know, at least you can justify why you tried it, and some things are going to go really well, and what I've learned being in ministry almost 13 years is there's going to be things that aren't going to work, and that's just part of it. So just kind of go into it knowing that you're doing it with your heart. You feel like this is what God has in store. And you're going to have some winners, but you're going to have some that aren't so winners too. We've all had those. Okay, so I'm going to talk about 3 things that we really shook things up. Okay? So one of the first things I'm going to talk about is our mission, our focus on mission that we do in our church. And so we actually have a lesson on mission. Why we serve. We were built to serve. Why is God? That is one of our commandments, is to go and serve others. So we do that, and then we have a serving project that we do together as a larger group. Then they serve once during the time as a small group. We have local things that they can do in our community that they can serve in, and we give them a list of that. And then we have a weekly offering. Okay, so we're teaching them to be members of the church. So we want to teach them when they come to church to bring something, whether that's their time, their commitment, whatever it is. So we adopted a local agency called My Father's House, which provides beds, furniture for people that don't have furniture. And so our kids go out and actually serve there. That's one of the mission projects that they do. But we asked them, what is something that we could collect as a ministry that would help you? And they said, toilet paper. Now, who doesn't want to have youth collecting toilet paper? That is the fun. I mean, how fun is that, right? So they bring in toilet paper every week. We count the toilet paper for a competition. Now, for me, boys and girls naturally breed a competition because we're kind of competitive between the genders. So we do guys and girls. So the girls bring theirs in pink bags. The boys bring in their toilet paper in blue bags. We count them each week. Then when we come in the next session, we have a video that is like a toilet paper roll that rolls down and gives them the numbers of who brought the most. You would think we were talking about Kansas City in the World Series. These kids are like screaming every time the numbers go up for toilet paper. They are so excited. So it's a great way to collect. It's a great way to teach them connection in the community, but it's also really fun. We have fun with it. So if you're doing a mission collection, just money-wise, that's fine too, but it's kind of fun to have an item, and youth love toilet paper because, it goes with all the other stuff they love, right? So the other thing is we invite our parents to go on our mission with us. So we make sure that when they go serve that the parents are invited also to go. So the second one I want to talk about is partnering with your families. So it's really important that you try to include your families as much as you can. Sorry, I don't know why I'm definitely not good at this. Okay, so there's a few things there to just kind of think about. First of all, some of the things are that the parents know the children better than we do. They just do. They have more teachable moments in their home than what we can teach in the classroom. And it's just important for us to use their home as a way for them to take the things that we're teaching them into their home. So those are some things to kind of think about as far as inviting parents to come and be part of it. So I got this from Rick Lawrence, who's the editor of Group Magazine. It just says, nothing has more power to influence a teenager's life for good or ill than home and family. Every youth ministry hour spent equipping parents to nurture faith in their teenagers is like giving money to a public television. Your gift is almost always doubled by a matching grant. Parents will always out-influence even a great youth leader, which is so true. And then this is, actually, I think he's on staff here. I don't know, but it said it was. I don't know. Presently, parents take their kids to church so the church can do the lion's share of the faith teaching. We've got it backward. The kids should take their parents to church to be equipped to nurture faith and life skills in their children and return home ready to shape their kids' faith. And I liked this one. If parents aren't integrated into the kids' faith development, it's a miracle if their young people continue in the life of the church after confirmation. And we've been kind of hearing that from all of our speakers. So here's how we involve our parents. Our students and family are required to come to the kickoff so that they hear what's going on and how important this is. And it's not just a child thing, it's a family thing. We provide them with the parent guides. So what they can do is when the kiddo comes home and they say, how was confirmation? And what does the student say? Fine, good. So now they know when they look at the curriculum, they can see that we did an activity with an orange. I don't know. They can say, I saw you did something with an orange. What'd you do with that? So that the questions can be directive so that they can do some follow-up actually at home. The other thing is we have a lot of parents, like I said, our families are non-anomaly religious. Some of them have no idea what's really being taught. So they can go through that and look at that themselves and kind of see what we're teaching. So it gives them the tools. Now, are they all using it? Probably not. But at least I know that I'm trying to give them what they can if they choose to use it. I know we have families that do use it. We also, like I said, have the family homework, which we talked about. I provide them with a prayer card so that each week there's a certain prayer that they are praying for that student. They insert their student's name and they can hang it somewhere on the fridge or whatever. So prayer card is a great way to involve them. We have volunteer spots. We have spots that they can choose. So if you are doing ministry on your own, that's a bad idea. You need to have some volunteer spots. Have them helping. I have parents all the way from making copies to subbing for a mentor if they need subbing to being on the prayer team. So praying for the joys and concerns each week. We have some that are mentoring. They go on mission trips with us. And then at retreat night, they are asked to attend. So our parents attend with us. And then they have a parent letter that they write to their students. And I wanted to have time to kind of go over that. This is one of them that a parent wrote. It says, Dear Dane, we are so happy to witness your deepening relationship with God, establishing a firm foundation, and understanding what faith means will carry you through the ups and downs life can bring. You are quickly growing from a boy to a man. This brings increased responsibilities and fun. The choices you make each day will direct your path. Choose your direction wisely, keeping in mind who you are and where you've come from. We, your parents, grandparents, and great-grandparents, have established a firm foundation for you to grow. This is an absolute, complete, true, forgiving, hopeful love in your family. Someday you will look back at your heritage with pride and see the choices and sacrifices those in your family have made. Faith, hard work, determination, will to succeed, and love are at the core of who we are. So the parents write a letter to their student, they bring it retreat night, they open it in private and read it in private. So we got that kind of from the Jewish tradition, right? Because they all stand up and say great things about the kids. And so I always tell parents, we don't tell our kids enough how fantastic they are. So this is a great excuse for them to write some of these letters. And so it works out great. If you're not doing that, love that part of it. The third thing is our mentors and our small group ministry. So one of the things is I tell my mentors when I recruit them that I'm asking you to come and be a mentor, but I'm also asking for you to consider to stay with these students for the next 4 years as they go through high school. I want you to consider that. The other thing I want you to consider is following them after that. I want you to be there at the birth of their first child, when they get married, when they graduate from college. I want this to be a relationship, okay? I want you to continue. And by setting those expectations higher, our mentors have stepped up to that. So in our area, we had a shooting in our area a little over a year ago. Reet Underwood was shot and killed at the Jewish Community Center. And when he was killed, I looked him up, obviously, and realized that he was one of our confirmands. He had gotten confirmed a year prior, a little over a year prior. And so I looked quickly, just because I could have called the family, right? No, I looked quickly to see who the mentor was. And then one of the mentors I knew pretty well. The other one I knew fairly well, but he had mentored for me in over a year since that time. So I dial his phone number. He picks up the phone. I'm not kidding you. He picked up the phone and said, "Teri, it was one of mine, wasn't it?" Because the news didn't say the boy's name, but he knew instantly when I called him that it was one of his boys. So at the funeral, they got all the group together, all this small group. They brought all the boys together, and they came to the funeral. No, they didn't just do that. They came and they decided that since Reet loved to serve so much, that they would do a serving project together in his honor. So they did that. So this is what relationships do. I'm one person. I can know about 10 people pretty well. I can know 5 really well. But if I spread that out, and I have other people helping me who are knowing these kids and following them, it's hard sometimes, right? Because we don't want to give them up, right? We don't want to give our kids off to someone else. But Jesus didn't do it on his own, so why do we think we can do it better than Jesus can? Okay? So you need to have some other adults that can follow these students to where they want to go. And our small group ministry has been the key. Connecting them so that they want to keep coming afterwards. And I'm going to end with one of my favorites. I'm assuming some of you might have read Love Does by Bob Goff. If you have not, highly recommend this book. I did this with I have a girls' high school small group who's actually graduating this year, so don't get me into that or I'll start crying. But I've had them since 4th grade, and now they're in 12th, they're graduating, going to college. But we did this book together, and I love this because it says I used to be afraid of failing at something that really mattered to me, but now I'm more afraid of succeeding at things that don't matter. So when you are looking at your ministry, you can keep doing things well, keep confirming kids, going the way you're doing, it's all fine. I mean, they're going to get confirmed. But could you do it a little bit better, you think? Could you look at the relationships and kind of see how you could continue on that and maybe make some changes? I think you could. So I'm here for you if you ever need anything. My emails and everything are up. Just send me an email or pop me a call. Like I said, I feel like I'm in a silo on my own sometimes. So I love to talk to people. And I thank you for your time and letting me come today. It's been great. So thanks.